Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, that's the samba version. Well, hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing okay. Here we are again for our live chat. And gosh darn it, once again, I do not see the comments. What the heck happened here? Pop out chat. There it is. Whoops, that goes over there. See, what does it go there and not to there? But that's okay. So yeah. Hi, Tom. How's it going? Tom, and by the way, Tom Orter, Cindy Reed is the one with the guitar. Cindy, I emailed Tom about your guitar, and he's going to take a look at it. So he knew about the guitar. He obviously has been on Reverb checking it all out. So anyway, so how's everybody doing? Everybody doing okay? I actually worked a gig today, and it was quite interesting. It's interesting to work a gig again, and It's kind of fun in a weird, perverted way. Tonight, we have a special guest we're going to be interviewing, and his name is Pat Flynn with the Newgrass Revival from a while ago. And so we're really happy about that. And he's an old friend of mine. And I called him up and said, hey, Pat, can we interview you tonight? So we're going to be getting to him in 1 minute. I'll just look at the comments up there in that other tab there. I don't need to see myself. So live there, that's it. Okay, who else we got? Andrew. Andrew, what's happening, man? And Elwood. David Bronson, sweet. And Cindy. Flip K. I like that name. Hey, it's Flip K here. Greetings from Charlotte. Jim Rolfe, what's happening, Jim Rolfe? So, son of a gun, I walked out. Here it is. Yeah, it was kind of weird to work a gig. You know, I've been working a few here and there. And, gigs are a funny thing. They're either good or bad, or, just kind of so-so, I guess. But you know what? It's kind of funny. I think you've probably heard my chicken with the corn thing, like a chicken, at the fair playing the piano. He just pecks at the piano, and every once in a while a piece of corn comes out. He doesn't know when it's going to come out or nothing, but that's why he keeps pecking. And that's how gigs are. You just keep doing it, and every once in a while you get a real good one. And then you might not get, or you might get two good ones in a row, and have some fun. So who knows? Anyway, okay, so Guitar College Library is doing well, getting some signups. We're expanding with it, and it's been rough because here's what's been happening. Some guys, they've downloaded from our 99-cent guitar lessons 3 and 4 years ago. They got some lessons, and they never downloaded them. They just always, just kept on it. And so now they can't, that website's gone. So now you got to get it here. So we've been trying to make it right for these guys, but sooner or later, we want you to sign up for our website. And it's got so much on there. And I just can't wait, actually, to get everything on there, because what I want to do is start putting some new stuff on there, So there's some Chuck Berry stuff, and you could mess around in a library for a long, long time. Just mess around there, having fun. And you don't have to, you can have several things going at once. It keeps track of what you're doing. So you know where you left off, or what song you were working on, and all that good stuff. So I wish I had something like that, man, when I was starting out. Actually, I like it right now. I go through it, I think, gee, how did I play that? And I look at that and I think, wow, that's cool. So kind of interesting, huh? Now the workshop, wow, we just got another sign up today. It was really nice. And so it's starting to pan out pretty good. Got some people who actually have been traveling, will be traveling from afar, from New Jersey and what have you. And so that's pretty neat. Guitar is a game of hundredths of an inch. You know what I mean? When your fingernail just gets a hair too long, that you can feel the fingernail hit the fretboard, you know what I mean? And then you like this about 3 or 4 times, and now you can't feel that. So that's why, your action and everything in the arch tops breathe, they swell up, they shrink with humidity. You got to be changing the action all the time. And I took my other Eagle Classic to the gig, and I have had it in the case humidifying. Got it out, and I thought, oh, wow, this thing is, the action is kind of stiff on this. And then I noticed, holy cow, this is all the way to the bottom here, so I can't lower it anymore. So I'm kind of stuck with that action at the gig. So that was not fun. Anyway, the song we opened up with is Donna Lee, and interesting tune, right? Some people say it's got every jazz lick there is, and so that's what it is. It's a solo. It's to the tune Indiana. And there is a video of Glen Campbell on his Good Time Hour doing Indiana. And he's playing a solo, and he's hanging. So, I think he did that for the guys in the band, all these jazzer guys, Tedesco and stuff. And here he pulled it off great. So speaking of Glen Campbell, here's a fella. I'm going to dial him up. Here's a fella, Pat Flynn, played with Glen Campbell, did his recording, that She's Gone recording with Glen Campbell. And Glen in the recording says, "Scat Pat," and Pat plays a solo on the record. And boy, that is pretty neat. He's got some Glen Campbell stories. But I'm going to dial him up on the phone. And while we do that, we're going to play a video of the Newgrass Revival. Now, the Newgrass Revival had Bella Fleck, John Cohen on bass and vocals. Well, they all, I think, sang. Sam Bush, Pat Flynn. What a group. Newgrass Revival. Unbelievable bluegrass band that took bluegrass music to another level. I've often said bluegrass and jazz are basically the same thing. You play off one another. And that's what jazz is a conversation between musicians. Same thing with bluegrass. What Pat might play something, it might spur Bella Fleck to play something different, and vice versa. And that's jazz. So it's kind of interesting. It's just a different vocabulary. So anyway, let me check messages here real quick. And then, Wes, you ready to go to that? Okay, your friend Stephen Gare wrote for Glen Campbell. What did he write? Sam played with Tony Rice. Right. Yes. Okay. All right, here's Newgrass Revival doing a tune. What is the name of the song?
Someone like me.
Somebody sends something in on another platform. They're like,
so hey, okay, so here's Pat, and so we just kind of do this the hokey way. I hold this up to my microphone on here, and we're going to talk to Pat. So Pat, you did play a pretty good solo in that. How did that happen?
Smoke and mirrors.
Well, that was a nice solo.
It was I don't remember, too much about it. Generally, one of the fun things about Newgrass Revival was that we had lots of room for improvisation. And of course, Bella Fleck, you're throwing the ball back and forth, and you want to try to step up when it's your turn. And so, we always tried to just unwind one on a solo that would get the other guys to raise their eyebrows, and it was a lot of fun, And all I remember is I think we worked that song out a little bit on the road before we recorded it, so I had time to develop something, What I recall about that solo is the chromatic run that I used. That was fun.
Yeah, that was. That's an awful big word for a bluegrass guy. That chromatic word. What you must be like?
It's a big word, but I use a crayon to write it.
That's funny. You're a little younger there. What year do you think that was?
Let's see. Love Someone Like Me. Mid 80s, Rich.
Okay.
Maybe
Mid
84,
80s.
85, somewhere in there.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, whose idea, Pat, was it to start this band?
The band preceded me. The Newgrass Revival was started by Sam Bush in the mid 70s, when he was just out of high school. He put together a group called the Bluegrass Alliance with Tony Rice and Courtney Johnson, and then they kind of shifted around personnel a little bit. John Cowan joined in the later 70s, and then the guys, I met them because I moved from Thousand Oaks, California, to Aspen, Colorado, just to work on music. You know, it was a good place to woodshed stuff. Any resort town like Aspen, Rich, you have a new audience every week because people come in to have a skiing weekend. So your audiences are different. They're new every week.
Right.
And there was lots of clubs. It was a really great music scene in the 70s. I went up there just to woodshed some ideas, put a band together. And I ended up meeting the Newgrass Revival at the Telluride Bluegrass Festival in nearby Telluride, Colorado. And I played there. I played at this festival 12 years in a row, but I met them. I played there a couple of years, and then I met them. And they were working as Leon Russell's band at the time. They were on the road. They would open with a couple of songs, and then they would back Leon up. So they were out doing the rock star thing all around the world. And the guitar player, Curtis Birch, and the banjo player, Courtney Johnson, left the band and went back home. They just had enough of that. So we all met in Nashville and reformed the band. And that band that went from 1980 to 1990, 10 years, was the band that most people are familiar with. But the band goes back before then to the days, to those days in the early 70s.
Yeah. Wow. What a lineup though in the band. A lot of talent there. Good grief.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like I said, the best thing was we had such room to play.
Yeah.
Now, it's not often the case that Korea disciple, you know,
right.
And when he came in with his far out time signatures and incredible stuff, and you add that to the tempos, and you know, it got pretty frightening. So you know, it was one of those things where we were able, even though we played maybe the same set list, you know, we had fun every night, changing things up as far as what we played.
Right. Well, I just got done explaining to the guys that bluegrass and jazz is very, very much alike because you're playing off each other. It's the only difference is the vocabulary.
Right.
You know, so it's the same concept. You just play and have fun. You know, play off each other.
It does have similarities in the extensive improvisation, and it's one of those things that you can challenge yourself every night. And if you have guys like I was playing with, you know how it is, Rich. The more people you have to bounce off of, the higher you can fly. And you know, I always thought to myself that it really pulled out my best playing for me, happening to work with those guys, you know?
Right, yeah. I hear you.
I'm used to that because when I met you and I played with you in high school, it was the same exact situation. You were a player that was so superior and so exciting and inspiring that it really pulled an A game out of me, you know, just by osmosis. You know, you didn't sit down and show me things. I don't recall much, but having to keep up with you really stretched me, and that's the name of the game, isn't it?
It is. You always want to play with players better than yourself.
I've always said that whenever I've had a chance to do seminars or workshops,
Yeah.
people talk about how do I get out of a rut or how do I advance? And I said, there's great videos and great lessons and great books, and you can get things from anywhere. But to me, sitting in with guys that are just out of your reach is the best way I know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If they'll put up with you hanging around and you don't bother them too much, you will stretch just by having to keep up with better players. It's the best thing in the world. For me, it was the best luck I ever had was running into good players.
Yeah. Well, and you certainly have. Because, Pat, I want to explain that Pat went to Nashville and made his home in Nashville and became a first call studio guy for I don't know how many years. And so
I worked I almost 20 years, Rich, after the band. I started getting busy while Newgrass was still around.
Mm-hmm.
I just happened to have the studio experience, when the door opened for younger players. Remember, Nashville, when I moved there, the idea of breaking the sessions was silly. The guys, they hovered over their chairs, and you weren't going to break that good old boy network. However, time moves along, and there was a time in the mid-'80s when, the A-team, it was such a great bunch of players, and they did such great work from the 50s, 60s, 70s. But they were, time marches on no matter who you are. And when the door opened, and they were willing to try young players, I had experience from LA. I was just lucky, see, and I was in the right place at the right time. And when I was in Newgrass, we were on the road 200 days a year, and I was doing 100 days a year in the studio. So when our band finally stopped playing, I just had to kind of stretch that 100 days a year out to a full-time job. But I played sessions for almost 20 years.
Yeah, that's a lot of takes.
I know. And I'd like to fix that second solo. By the way, hang on a second. I need to do one more overdub.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, we could talk with Pat for a long, long time because, like I said, he's got quite a career. Hey, I wanted to tell you, Pat. Hey,
where did you go, Rich? Did you go somewhere?
Did I go somewhere? What do you mean?
There was a big, long pause there of about 30 seconds. I didn't hear from you.
Oh, well, that's because you were talking.
Oh, okay.
No,
no.
Can you hear me now?
I can. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, sir. Good boy.
Yeah. Yes, sir, Mr. Severson.
I was just thinking, we were talking this morning because we're going to get together our band from high school.
I know. Isn't that great?
That is great. It's going to be, there's a picture here. It just came up. You look like Ronald Reagan.
I do?
Yeah, crazy.
Well, Rich, there you go again.
Yeah. Do you wear boxers or briefs?
I wear them briefly.
It depends. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to get together our band in high school, and we're looking for some places to play in the Thousand Oaks area. And this fella's name just came up, Kirby Langendorf. Hey, Kirby, you want a band you want a house party and have our band?
This is great, Rich. We might get a gig tonight. Let's
solidify this.
Yeah.
And Jim Rolfe, I tried to get a hold of Pat Van Auken to find out if he would do it. So Jim,
yes.
So Jim's he's watching tonight too. So I'm reaching out to these two guys because we're going to do this class reunion, right? And then we want some other places to play.
Yeah, man. Ask the guys. Tell them we're available, man, for bar mitzvahs, backyard parties.
That's right. Yeah, we'll work for food.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Gosh, is there anything else you want to talk about, Pat?
Well, I just whatever you want to, Rich. I just always love talking about music and guitar playing.
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I want to tell you guys that there's a kid on the scene who just came on the scene, and he grew up watching Newgrass Revival.
Uh-huh.
He's become a monster, and I want you guys to check him out if you want to hear an on-fire young bluegrass player who can get up and sing and entertain and play like nobody's business. Check out Billy Strings. Easy name to remember.
Billy Strings. Wow, that's a great name.
All you have to do is go on YouTube, and there's 1,000 Billy Strings videos. But he, to me, I get a big kick out of him because he plays a very progressive rock and roll bluegrass, and he loves the classic stuff. And he's a boy after our own heart, I would say.
Oh, that's cool. Well, Wes just put him up here, so we're looking at him right now.
Another guy I want you guys to be aware of is a guy who also I knew when he was 10 years old, and he's become the go-to electric guy in Nashville now, and his name is Guthrie Trapp. And Guthrie's got great videos online like you do, Rich. And if you want to hear the state-of-the-art Nashville electric guitar playing, Guthrie Trapp.
Huh. Some of the comments here, Cindy Reed just wrote that Billy just won a Grammy. Okay,
yes, he did.
Now,
yes, he did, and he deserves it. That's really going to open the door and introduce him to a lot of new people.
Cool. Okay, so this Kirby, did you just say you absolutely want to do a house concert? And Jim Rolfe said, I can get the food and Kirby can get the beer? Is that what we're talking about? So, Pat, I think we got something going on.
I like it.
Well, let's see. Pat, thank you very much for letting us talk to you for a while. Pat's got so many stories. Give us one little story. Give us the Glen Campbell story, man. Pat played with Glen. Oh, I wanted to ask you about playing with Leon. Now, there's an old video of Leon Russell doing high heel sneakers on the Dick Clark show.
On the Shindig show.
Is it Shindig? And he's so straight laced, and then you got him. It's crazy, huh?
Well, Leon came out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he ended up as part of Phil Spector's wrecking crew. Mm-hmm. And he was a strange cat. He always wore a 3-piece suit, and he always wore, always never said a word. And there's a funny story in the Wrecking Crew movie that Denny Tedesco did, and you guys, I know you guys are all familiar with that great film about the Wrecking Crew, the great session players from LA. Anyway, there's a great story that Cher tells about Leon coming in one day after having had a few martinis during the lunch break and going crazy in the studio and just blowing everybody's mind because nobody's ever heard him speak a word before, and he was standing on top of a piano preaching hellfire and brimstone. And I won't give you the whole story, but check it out. It's in the movie. Well, who do you want to talk about, Leon or Glen?
Well, let's talk about Glen now. Well,
Glen, I don't have to tell you what an inspiring player he was since I was little. Of course, Rich, you and I, the guys knew who played on the records in LA, but they didn't get their names on the records, because the groups were supposed to be playing their own records. So if it was the Byrds or Paul Revere and the Raiders or the Mamas and the Papas or the Monkees or whoever it was the same guys,
Right.
And Glen Campbell and Leon Russell were the sound of the Beach Boys, just as they were the sound of Frank Sinatra and Jan and Dean and everything else.
Right.
And so when I met Glen, he was having a second sort of career in Nashville, having hits in Nashville in the 80s, and Jerry Crutchfield was producing him. And I played lead guitar on his last #1 record that he ever did called Gone, Gone, Gone. And he hollered at me during my solo, Scat Pat. The thing about Glen that worked for me and meeting people like him was he expected that you would gurm him, oh man, you're so great and I love you, this and that. But that doesn't really get you too far because most of these guys are kind of insecure and they don't want to hear that. Yeah. And you make a mistake if you go too far in gushing. But what I did with Leon and Glen, the same thing when I first met them, is I wouldn't come on too strong, but I'd say, hey, Glen, that 12-string part you did in 12-string parts that you did on California Girls. You know, did you double that with Jerry Cole, or did you do it by yourself, or was that you and Barney? And he would be astonished. How did you know I did that? You know, and I'd say, Glenn, you know that part you did on Strangers in the Night. You know, did you overdub that, or did you play that on the basic track? And he was just, all I would do is talk to them about sessions. See, and he and Leon were astonished that I would know that they played on stuff, because they didn't think, Rich, they didn't think anybody knew who they were or cared or knew what they played on. But I knew everything they played on, man. I knew everything. And I remember the great licks that James Burton did. I talked to James about, you know, playing that great lick on Secret Agent Man. You know.
Oh, was that really? That was James Burton?
Oh, yeah, of course it was. Sure.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so that was a great way to get to know these guys, because they really appreciated that I would know that they played on those records and what they played and how they played it, you know. And Glenn, the funny thing about that record, Gone, 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 is that when I took a solo, you know, he was so excited. First of all, Reggie Young, the great Reggie Young, took the first electric solo, and then I played an acoustic bluegrass kind of solo. And Glenn was so excited that he wanted to add a solo to the song. So he came back in and overdubbed a third guitar solo at the end of the song, and it still went #1. But it was great to see him play, because he wasn't that excited about playing guitar at that point. You know, he'd sing the songs and the session guys would play.
Right.
But he got all fired up on that song. We had a lot of fun, and he ended up getting so fired up, he went out and got that old guitar he played. You know, he had a no-name electric that he played on all those great sessions. Some kind of Tiesco Del Rey or something, Rich, I don't remember. But anyway, Larry Knechtel had it, and he went and got it from Larry and came back and played a third solo on that record. So when you listen to it, you can hear Glenn shred on the end of that song.
Oh, yeah, we got to hear that then. I've got the single to that record.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, well, easy to find. Everything's on YouTube, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Well, thank you, Pat. We're going to be, if you don't mind, I'd like to call you again sometime, and we'll do this.
But to be on your broadcast, man, Rich, I really appreciate it. Anytime, man.
Yeah, okay. So it looks like we might have a gig. Jim Rolfe says, I can get us the gig for food.
We'll work for food.
We'll work for food. Why not? You know.
Tell all your guys, tell all the guitar players out there. Listen, my motto, man. There's only 12 notes, Rich. What's the big deal?
That's right. You
know, don't get too far out. And as John McEwen, as Bill McEwen said to his brother John, the banjo player from the Dirt Band, he said when John would get a little out of hand, Bill would say, you know, John, if the banjo was a legitimate instrument, the Beatles would have used it.
Oh, that's good. That's good. There is no banjo in Beatles music, is there? Jeez.
You know what? You know why there's no banjo on Star Trek, Rich?
Why is that?
It's the future. Now, you know that I'm just kidding, because I love banjo.
Oh, sure.
I love Palin. I love everybody out there.
Sure.
But just remember what I said.
Okay. All right. Well, take care, buddy. And we'll talk soon.
I'll talk to you soon, Rich.
All right.
To you soon.
Bye. Well, that was kind of cool, huh? Little old Pat Flynn. I knew his brother, John. Played with John. And Pat came from a large family, and there's a few musicians in that family. So, well, that was special. Tell you what, let's take a look. We wanted to take the, shall we take the reverb jump and go look at some guitars? Let's, Cindy Reed, I gave Cindy, she's on the comments here. I gave her a Skype lesson one day, and I was amazed at the guitar she had. She had a Heritage Kenny Burrell in beautiful shape. And this guitar, Kenny Burrell's 18 inches. I don't know how tall Cindy is, but I don't think she's very big. So for a little person, the Kenny Burrell is a big ass guitar. So anyway, she's decided to let go of it, and here it is. Now, I know when you look at that price, you think, oh my God, I could have bought 3 cars for that in 1970. Well, maybe 2. But that is equal to a Super 400. And that's a solid wood guitar. And it is gorgeous. And there's just made a handful of them. And if you ever think, gee, that's a lot of money, which it is, who's got that kind of money? Well, some people do. And this is a once in a lifetime guitar. But if you think, wow, that's probably at the top of the range of that guitar, go check out how much a Gibson Super 400 is. And then you'll say, wow, there's a lot of room for appreciation there. So, but isn't that a pretty guitar? Now, if you want to deal with this, you want to get a hold of Cindy direct. You could message her on Reverb, and then she'll get a hold of you or something. I would buy that guitar. As a matter of fact, Tom made an offer. So, Tom, you're going to have to deal with her directly. I would buy that if I had the money. It's always that little thing called money. Hey, Wes, type in Gibson Super 400. And let's take a look at how much appreciation this guitar could probably go to. You see those prices there? What am I seeing? Maybe scroll down a little bit there. How much is that? Like, it's upside 9,500. What a deal. So I remember seeing these. I've seen several of these, Super 400s. I had a Super 400 at one time. I didn't pay anywhere near that. But they have suddenly caught on, and they have just gone through the roof. 2 reasons: they don't make them anymore, and it's like a valuable coin or something. There you go. It's valuable, I guess. Hey, Wes, could you also? Now, we were doing our live stream, and there was we did a little feature on that SCHAEFER, that FREDDY, that SCHAEFER guitar, the FREDDY, and Ron bought it, but there's another one up. Can you check it out? So I don't know. What did you pay for that? 27. And now here's another one for 37. 47. Okay, so a little more appreciation there. So that is a quality guitar. There's Ed. I'm not saying buy this guitar. I mean, they're just beautiful guitars. But again, that's a very expensive guitar, and one of a kind guitars. It's 14-inch. But so I just wanted to show you that, because those don't come up. Where is that guitar at? Is that Hong Kong? It's in Hong Kong, yeah. So that's a ways away. I don't know if you want to buy a guitar from Hong Kong, but it's up to you. So again, if you want to check out that guitar. So, okay, I'm going to play a tune, man. This tune isn't on my list. What happened to it? Crud. Here it is. Wait a minute. There it is. Clifford Brown, Cookin. I love this tune, and I played it before. That's the progression. that's the progression. Let's play the tune. Wait a minute. What the hell is going on here? I am out of tune, man. It's driving me nuts. And I tuned up before I sat down here. This is that ancient Chinese folk song. So Kirby, would you really host a little party for us? Invite all your friends in Newbury Park. Let's try this again. Cookin, Clifford Brown, love this tune. Let me turn this up. Ta-da! Okay, there is Cookin, Clifford Brown. I have a lesson on that. It'll change your life because jazz is all about soloing over changes. And if you can't solo over changes, you can't play jazz. So why don't you pick up that lesson? Now, it's on our site, of course. This is like an info commercial. It's on our site, and we want you to sign up and get it. Okay, next on the list. You know, I haven't done any lessons yet. We'll do a couple after this. I wanted to play for you a video of the West Side. I have it. I want to apologize for the quality of this, but it's got the West Side of Heaven is my tune. It's me and Todd Johnson, Gary Newmark, and this is a wonderful trio. I love playing with Todd and Gary, two of the finest players around. So let's, I guess, take a listen. Okay, there you have it. That's a live version of that tune. Very fun. I love that tune. And not because I wrote it, because it's a Wes Montgomery influence kind of song, and I just really like the song. It's after a while, you kind of look at it as a song. I always wondered, even when you write songs, you after a while you think, well, there's two things that happen. Number one, you forget how it goes, or number two, you're still working on it years later, trying to figure out how to make it better. So I sometimes fall into the category, well, both categories. One time I asked Don Robertson about rewrites and stuff. He said, I'm still rewriting stuff that Elvis recorded at the State Fair movie. I'm still rewriting those songs. All right, since, here's a lick, and I think Pat and I used to play this lick back in high school. Oh, yeah. No, that wasn't it. Something like that. So we're going here, and you go. Oh, to maybe go on that other camera. That's it. All right, that's the first half. Well, let's do that one. Crap. That's how it went. It's almost like Baby Please Don't Go. it's in G. Okay, there's our lick for today's installment. A little bit of a little fun lick. You know, you learn a few of these licks, you can get so much mileage out of those things. You could go on forever. So tomorrow we're going to do our live stream tomorrow in the morning, and well, why don't you join me? And we're gonna work on some music. I've got some things I want to talk about, and so 9 o'clock tomorrow, and we'll have some fun. Get your coffee. You got to have your coffee, and we'll do it. Now you notice tonight I'm not drinking any wine, and there's a reason for that. It's because I drank too much lately. We got to dry out sometime. You know, Pat was one of these players that could play with his fingers. He was a finger player. He could play with a pick, but he played a lot with his fingers. And yeah, it was amazing. So anyway, hope you enjoyed tonight. I will see you later. See you tomorrow. See you then. Bye for now.